Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in for another Hope at the End of the Tunnel podcast. We are super excited to have on with you tonight another special guest. Remember, we are always bringing you real moms with real stories to show you that there is hope at the end of the tunnel. I am one of your co-hosts, Juanita Woodson, and tonight, my co-host, Joy Phalo, she is going to introduce. Well, actually, we're going to allow her, our guest, to introduce herself. But Joy, I'm going to kick it to you so you can give her those instructions before we get started.
Great. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. As Juanita said, it's hope at the end of the tunnel. And that's what Miss Shalonda is going to bring us today. We are so excited to have you. And you can do it best. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us some things that you want us to know, whatever you feel comfortable with.
Definitely short and sweet. My name is Shalonda McClellan, and I come from a humongous family, large family. I'm the youngest of nine, but that's not the important thing. I'm a servant. Okay, I love people, and I happen to be a mom.
Okay, I feel like you said a lot. You said a lot in that short bit of time, so we want to make sure we try to dig in and pull a little bit more out of what you just said. So, to kind of break things up, make you feel a little bit more relaxed and comfortable right now, I'm just going to ask this question and then we're going to get into the deep things, right? So, if you could describe this season of your life using one word, what would it be and why?
This season, made. Yeah. And he's continuously making me, but made because he's really put some things in my life that I never, I never would pick. But I've learned to trust him a little bit more at this point and to just follow.
Okay. So you said you are a mom. So how many kids do you have? And
I have one.
okay.
Yes, but I don't know of I'll tell you this, having one child, um, it's plenty because they have to have friends. Yeah, they've got to be. I always found myself having a lot of young people around me when she was younger, and oh my gosh, has it proven true today?
Okay. Go ahead, Juanita.
Good. So you have one daughter. So if you can, before we just to get a little bit more about your background, so you have one child, you have a daughter. So kind of what was that dynamic like with her growing up? And then what is the dynamic with you two now?
Oh, the Lord saves. Okay, so just a little bit. I thought I come from a humongous family. In my humongous family, I'm the youngest of nine, but I had two cousins who were only children, and that house was fun. And my aunt recruited us. I didn't realize until I was an adult with my own, but she recruited us every weekend. And I loved it because I'm the youngest of nine, but there were three at the time in our home. And I thought my sister and brother sucked. So I was like, yeah, let me go here because they had all the same things that my home had, all the egos, all the flavors, all the stuff. Less people to share it with. So um, I used to kind of envy that. Now I'm at the point I have my own child, and she's an only child, and I got it. I really understood what my aunt was doing because there's no amount of energy you think you could have for an only child. No, no, they always wanted, always. It's playtime all the time. So I always had a car full of girls, and I learned to use that as the way that I knew all the business. Just let them talk. Um, I find myself on this end with our story and with all the things that have happened, but young people were attracted to me. Like they were coming to me when she was not around. It was crazy. And now I'm at the point, I will say this. The people at my church think I have a young adult ministry. I do not. I do not. I keep reminding them I don't, but they're lovely. Let me not, they are all lovely young people. But when I say that at one point my daughter was like, Yay, I always wanted sisters and brothers. I was like, Yay. This is the way you're going to get them. They can go home.
Yes. I often hear that, and I'm saying I often hear my son, he was a only child. I mean, I have a bonus daughter, but he was the only child for a long time. He's very much like me, very introverted though, so it's different. But I do often hear people say having an only child, it can be a little rough because they pull so much, they need so much of your attention. Whereas
Yeah.
different if you have siblings, they're playing with their siblings, they're entertaining each other. But with only children, it's like, they don't have like that best friend. We grow up and our siblings, our cousins are like our best friends. So they don't get that same dynamic. So I can imagine what that
Yeah.
was like. Yes. So
But
can
I
you
will
go
add
ahead.
another thing to that is that um, when you have siblings, you some of your skin is rubbed, and you find out you're not the only person in the universe. Like quick,
Yeah, that's
as hard to do with only child.
that is true. You have to break that quick. The world does
Yeah.
not revolve around you with only children.
Right.
You have to teach them that really quickly. So let's start to talk about some things, right? So can you share with us? So I know you are a contributing writer in the Moments for Moms Legacy Unlocked magazine, right? And you talked about your mountain moment. So can you explain to the listener, to the person who hasn't even picked up a copy of the magazine yet, what does mountain moment mean, and just share the heart behind it?
Definitely. My story is an interesting one. I always say that God trusts you with certain things, and He trusted me with. I would say sometimes I get moms who are kind of afraid of my story. So the mountain, I described it in the article that Abraham was told by God to go up this mountain to sacrifice his son. And the thing is that in our society, when we think mountains, we might think of climbing them, but at the top is victory, right? We're shouting hoorah. um, Except I wouldn't equate killing your own son as a victory moment. Not even anything I want to contend with. Yet, that is exactly what God had me to do. And I'm telling you, I never would have thunk it. I mean, I was, love the Lord, raised my child in church. We're having, the thing about my daughter, I never had to tell her no for a long period of time. Of course, we had chores. Of course, you had to do your homework, you know, those simple things. But I remember I would look at some children and dynamics, and I would be thanking the Lord because I was like, oh, yes, let me, I can handle this. Let's kind of hold my breath because I was like, oh, she just wants to go to church, you know? Why say no to that? You know, she wants to play an instrument. She's musically gifted. Okay, those are easy things, but I didn't really have moments of outbursts of I want this or um, I don't believe in bad children, but I believe strong-willed. I would say that I didn't really have that. I didn't really have that. So, um, Little did I know. Yeah, there's a test for everybody. Yeah, yeah, nobody gets out without a bruise. So that's I don't know. Did I effectively um
Okay, yeah, so I think to so you didn't have to face some of the same struggles that other parents face, but what was it for you? Your mountain moment, right?
my mountain was actually I realized that I had that as an idol. My I don't want to say my child, I want to say probably my parenting um was such an I found out after he showed me um, that yeah, my mountain, my idol, that God would have no, He would have us to have no idol. Yeah, He really means it. He is a jealous God, and even the good things that we think that we hold the candle, um, no, He's gonna remove that too, and show us who we are. I love um I learned to pray a prayer, God, show me me. Oh, He definitely will. And it doesn't have to be an awful thing. Now, I don't know if I should go here yet, but there was a point in time through this walk, I wish my child was on drugs. I was like, there is a rehab center for that. Yeah. You know, I didn't really understand um the amount of angst. Yeah. I couldn't really get with it because I know what I put in the the batter. I know that every step of the way, even when adults may not have been respectable, my teaching was respect. And I didn't, you know, yeah. So drugs, I felt a period of time would have been easier to contend with. There's an answer for that. you know, when there's no answer and your child is just acting out. And mind you, she was a beautiful child. Most of her childhood, oh my gosh, it was wonderful. But there comes a time, and I don't, I believe God knew my story before I did. You know, I believe God had a plan. I've always known. I'm a single parent, been a single parent the whole way. I always knew through other things that God was going to use myself and my daughter um, with other single parents to give hope and to show the proper way of relationship. Like, I knew that He would use us because there were times, crazily enough, that there were these parents who would contact me and request to spend time with my daughter. You want one of my daughters come to their house to hang with their child. And they would make statements that I thought were crazy. That they wanted her to hang around their child so that their child could be more like her. Now, I would correct them because that's crazy out of order. Um, that, you know, you speak lovely of your child. Like, my child is not perfect. I mean, we do chores, but she don't just willingly do them.
Right.
I have to make rules. There's no.
So I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
So God's going to use your story, you and your daughter's stories to help other single moms, right? But let's dig a little bit deep. What is it about your story? Because that's what we kind of don't know. Like you said, you wish she would may have been on drugs at one point in time. So I'm gonna tell you like this. I had a son at the age of 15. My dad was a preacher. My dad's a preacher and my mom was a school counselor. So I'm sure I did some things that embarrassed them getting pregnant at the age of 15. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my story. So if you don't mind just giving us a little bit of what that looked like, just so we can give that single mom hope
Okay.
from that situation.
Well, my daughter was a chronic runaway. Okay. Um, you know, there was, and I just, like I said, it just, some things are, they are what they are. Um, I remember one misunderstanding, and I thought it was just something that happened that would never happen again. She was 13, and I had caught her father had gotten her a cell phone. Bless his son. And so um, she did not go along with the rules. I came home. Somehow it was normal for me to check her phone. And she had been the middle person for this other young lady with some older guy. And so I found word of it. So I'm talking to her about it. It did not turn out well. And so at that point, I was like, okay, you're gonna have to get out of my view. Stuff like that. Well, she goes to the porch. I thought she went to the porch. I go to the porch, well down. She's gone. Um, she has gone over to a friend of ours, but it is not next door. It is down the highway. It's in the night. I'm looking for her. And this was at 13. Thank the Lord. This was someone called me, and I said, okay, she's there. I'll be there to pick her up, and that was fine. I didn't know that this was going to become a thing. At 16, I know for sure this is the first time that I ever like had to tell her no on something. She was color guard in high school, and I put academics first. And so she hadn't completed her report. So I told her, you're not gonna be performing tonight. Oh my goodness! I even gave her honestly. I I was leaving room, so we did not have internet at that time at home. So I took her to our community college campus, let her get so that she could get on the computer there, complete her assignment. And I had never, other than that 13-year-old moment, I had never had a problem with, okay, she understands when I say something, I mean it. Yeah. She took off, and the craziest thing, she took off and she went to I think it was a choir practice at church, but she's walking. I am, I just don't, but this started a series of moments. I wish it was just that. I wish it was just that going to church or I wish when she would have a crush on a guy, take off. Um, and it's just any time of where she did not agree with what I'm saying to her, it became a series. So I found out later that when there's a single parent, there's another single parent. But her father wasn't actually involved. But I found out that his people were telling her things like, I'm the reason he's not around. So I don't know what I'm contending with because I don't know the full story. That she's on her own developing um, just callousness in her heart toward me. And so I'm just doing the best that I can do. I'm just trying to make it to 18. I'm not gonna lie, I was trying to make it to 18. I was like, okay. I told her, I said, you can go to school, you can go to the military, you gotta do something. But yeah, let's get to doing something because what you really need is to be on your own so that you can understand who I am in your life and who you are and what's really happening with your folks. Because then I won't be in the way. They said I was in the way.
Yeah.
Um, I'm telling you, we go to college. She chose a college, and and it. I thought it would be a time for everything to settle, and get solved because it wasn't like always bad. It was just too much. Oh my gosh, too many nights wondering where she was.
I
It's
can
too much.
imagine as a parent, like, okay, your child takes off, like, where are you? So in those moments, like, how did your faith kind of help you to stay grounded in those moments as a mom?
Oh, I was not great at first. I'm not gonna lie. I were it not, I had there was a village. Um my friend, her godfather, Willie Diggs, was a great help. To be at least some kind of assistance, to remind her of who she is, that she is loved. She's had people in her life all along. But I can't do anything she wants her dad, and there's nothing wrong with it. That's natural. Um, but oh, I will tell you this: Willie Dix helped me out in this way because it got to the point I was tired of the runaways. I was tired of the combativeness, and yeah, I stopped praying for my daughter. I got sick of it. I knew God was going to tell me to forgive her. I knew He was going to tell me to let her back in. But my friend reminded me of my position that as her mother, as her parent, it's my job to stay on my knees. Because if I'm not praying for her, who is? Who could pray like I could pray for her? Like other people might know a little bit. I know the full story. So yeah, I had to get over it. And I did. I praise God that I did. Um, so I went back to my knees and I confessed what I knew to be true for my daughter and for my family.
Right. So
Um, go ahead.
while you're talking about the praying part, it was just perfect time for me to just to insert this question. What full circle moment? Um, take this out, Juanita. I'm sorry. I thought I had the question. All right, here it is. What full circle moment reminded you that God was still working?
Um, you mean through? I
Mm-hmm.
would say the most full circle moment that I've had um, is it was recently. It was Easter of this year. Um, now, this is after my daughter has come back because it's been up and down. But praise God, she's got it. She's got it. I can confidently say. But it was Easter of this year. Through the process of every runaway and every contention, God continued to bring young people my way. They would always be her age at that time, and I thought it was so cruel at first because I didn't want them. I wanted my daughter, and I would always, always be a point for me to tell a young person to respect and honor their parents. They would always be ready to leave home, and I would tell them, "Hey, think twice. They love you. You just don't understand right now." But they would go home and everything would work out. Especially recently, there's been a slew of young people that have come to me. And for the first part of it, I thought I was betraying my daughter. And I'm crying, talking to God, and He's telling me to let these young people in. He's telling me open my door to them. And so I do that, and time has passed. And I will tell you that Easter of this year, a lot of these young people surrounded my daughter at church and prayed for her. It was crazy wild. I never could have imagined it. There's a picture I have, and I meant to bring it, but it is wild crazy. These young adults there's one from Brazil, they're from everywhere. And God has brought them into my life, and they have loved her. They had no clue of the full story. Some even said how they envied our relationship, and we were like, what? But God did it, y'all.
Yeah.
It's been
Yeah.
nobody but God.
Nobody but God. And I think sometimes people don't, that's the one thing, like when it comes to like social media, people will see things on social media and they envy what they see, but not really know the backstory, not really know what people are facing. So then when you get close to a person, it's like, okay, now I see you. I see what you're going through. I know how to pray for you. So maybe that's what it was.
Right.
They looked from the outside. They were looking from the outside thinking they knew the full scope, but then when they got close, it wasn't just your purpose that was pulling them close in, right? It was also what your daughter needed. So how do you define obedience today after walking through that valley moment?
Ooh, after walking through that valley, oh yeah, it's easy because um I'm able, number one, I've given him like this auto yes. Now that doesn't mean that I'm some blind person. That doesn't mean that I'm up here not asking him questions. I do. I ask questions, but my choice is yes because y'all, when you find your idol, when you find what you worship, and that sucker is snatched away, and you have to walk through the disappointment and trying to fix it yourself in every flawed kind of way to the point of exasperation. And you're like, here, it's yours. And but yeah, so my obedience now, I recently had a because he leads me through hard conversations. And I had a happening, and I was able to objectively look at it, and I said, you know what, this is not that. Oh, this is a yes. I can do it. I Lord, whatever you say, because He has actually brought my daughter to be in right relationship with me, and y'all, I'm telling you, that river was wide. Oh, so he's done that and is continuously doing, because I'm not perfect, she's not perfect.
Right.
But man, when you're looking at your child like self-harm, yeah, and you can do nothing about it, when they come out, I'll do anything. Yeah. Yeah, whatever you go here, I'll do it. It's not a problem. Sir, not a problem. Um, God has blessed me. Um, some There's been some young adults to come into my home. Um, One very special. She is very much part of us and going on vacation with us and everything. And others who, man, God has totally blessed my life. So my answer to him is yes. Um, yeah, I have no
Yes.
problem.
it sounds like you may need to start that young adults children ministry at the church that everybody keep asking you about. I'm just gonna put that out there like that. You might be running from some. I'm just saying.
They are grown. They are grown. They're gonna handle it themselves. We eat next Sunday. They're grown. Y'all know what? I build. You know what? I don't mind building a community, but I know it's not mine because I learned from that non-experience. Nothing belongs to me.
Right.
Mm.
So,
That's true. And listen, I want to say that because when we think about community and we think about building it, it's not ours, right?
Right.
It's for the people that's in it, and the people that are in the community, they help to build it. So you're
Yes.
building, and now they're gonna go and give back to somebody else. So I just
Yeah.
wanted to share that because that's what community building is for me. It is not about like making my name great or making like, Joy making your name great or Shalonda
Right.
making it's like, okay, what is it that God wants us to do? And then how can we all grow within this community and pour back into other people? So I just wanted to share that.
Mm.
I appreciate you saying that because it means that you get it. You're serving and it's not about a title.
right.
So yes, stop running and do what the Lord is doing.
But I also know that what you're doing is going to live past you.
That's the legacy.
Right.
Yeah.
So with that being said, because I want you to think about that. I don't want you to come back and say nothing. I want you to think about the community you got to build.
Okay.
So with that being said, what does hope at the end of the tunnel mean to you in this season of your life?
So good. Hope at the end of the tunnel. This young adult community is very much my daughter's involved there. So she's not my daughter at that point. She's part of the community. This community that she always needed is what God has done. And my hope, we had this thing called a boot up. We had a boot up small group just a few weeks ago. 5 young ladies, and she was one. She came out of it saying that she can see herself being married, and she couldn't believe it. And yeah, hope is gonna give me all kinds of groom's cake because all of these young adults are gonna be married and live a life they didn't know that they could live because of him, right? Hope is legacy. Mhm.
Yes. I love that. It's no surprise that young people are drawn to your spirit. They are drawn to the way that you have raised your daughter, even though in some seasons maybe you felt like you that was your idol, right?
Wow.
Do no wrong in parenting, and I know that so many parents probably think that, and we do get humbled. We get humbled because it's like your kids go through seasons where they don't get in trouble, nothing's happening, but we always have to remember that God is our help in parenting. He's
Yeah.
gonna need him to lead and guide us. So thank you so much for sharing your story. Keep building the community that you are building with the young adults. The reason I say that is because it's gonna continue to pull more people closer to God. It's gonna continue
Amen.
that generation, right?
That's the goal.
Next generation. Because if we don't show them, who's going to show them?
Right.
So, yes. How can we connect with you on social media so that we can follow your community building journey, all the amazing things
Ah.
going on?
Oh goodness. My first last name Shalonda McClellan. Yeah, everywhere. I'm not. Yeah.
I'm not hiding. I'm here, Lord. I say yes. I am here. Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us and taking us through your journey, taking us to the top of the mountain where we can see hope, right? We can see that the light is shining from the tunnel because we're at the top of the mountain where there was
Amen.
victory, right? So absolutely, y'all make sure that when you listen, make sure that you leave us a comment, share this with a parent, a mom, a dad, somebody who needs to hear it, and then make sure you subscribe. That's important too. And then give us some feedback. Give us some feedback in the comments as well. It will definitely help us to continue growing, getting visibility for our channel. So we absolutely appreciate you joining us, and just remember to tune in. We are live every first and third Tuesday of the month. So make sure you come back and check out the next episode. Until next time, remember there is hope at the end of the tunnel. Take care.